I say he should declare victory and leave, and let Mr. Netanyahu stir in his own juices. Declare victory and leave. I mean, he's good at doing that sort of thing, but I don't think he's going to do that. So I think we're in trouble.
So you're saying Trump should just fake victory and then leave. Yep. He's good at faking things. He's good at lying. Now, why won't he do that?
I think it's basically Israel, because he knows if he does that, Israel might be toast and Israel might go to a nuclear weapon.
So is it that they would be toast and then they would, out of this position, use a nuke? That's his fear, that they would use a nuke, or is he fearful about what would happen to Israel?
I think both, but I think mostly what he's concerned about is that he doesn't have any control over Netanyahu and his nuclear stockpile. Same thing that happened in 1973, but you had Moscow and Washington weighing in with Golda Meir. You had Henry Kissinger orchestrating things, and you had us telling the Israelis, no, 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 both Moscow and Washington. And they happened to get a position on the Egyptian Third Army that meant they didn't have to use the nuclear weapon. So it all went away in 1973. It's not going to go away this time, I don't think.
So if you were advising the president, not just the way you are right now through the Katie Halper show, but if you really had his ear, what would you tell him to do, given that Israel does have nuclear weapons that you yourself have said you think they'd be fine using?
I think he's got to figure out a way to extricate himself from this, if he cares at all about his presidency and if he cares at all about the country, both of which I'm not sure about. So I don't know that there's an incentive to do this. The more I listen to him, the more I think his megalomania has really conquered him. So as I said, I think we're in deep trouble. And unfortunately, I think much of the world is in deep trouble because this is going to have huge repercussions. And we're not even talking about Ukraine and the ground hardening up and Russia mounting an onslaught on Odessa, now fueled with $160 to $170 million a day more. They don't have any pains with regard to funding their campaign in Ukraine because they're just rolling in dough now with the oil price. So it's a very dangerous world. And I don't think Donald Trump understands what he started.
So let's say, though, that let's say you were president. OK, what would you do? Is there anything that we can do to defang Israel?
I'm not sure. I don't know what he said to Netanyahu in the past, and I don't know how far he's willing to go with Miriam Adelson and other of his backers who are quite critical to his reelection or staying in office and not being impeached, and also the reelection of the Republican Party in the Congress. Hopefully not his reelection, but I don't put that beyond the ken.
Right.
So I don't know wouldn't know how to advise him. I would tell him, if I were the chairman of the Joint Chiefs or the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of State, to whom none of whom he listens to, but if I had his ear, I would say, you need to break this embrace with Bibi Netanyahu, and you need to make it very clear to him that he needs to stop. He needs to stop in Lebanon. He needs to stop in Syria. He needs to stop in Gaza. He needs to stop on the West Bank. And we need to sit down and do something about redeveloping some sort of peace plan and a solution. I don't think the solution is two states anymore, but I do think there could be a democratic state in the Levant that was both Palestinian and Jew to start with, and then turned into a true democracy and entertain both populations with a manner of respect and dignity that a democracy should. And to hell with the power of the womb, to hell with all of that. We need a democratic state in the Levant, or we need no state other than Palestine.
And Jose, I'll shift to you in a second. I just really want to get to this because I'm very curious. If you were president, let's just say, Colonel Wilkerson, would you be able to? I guess my question is, can anyone stop Israel? Let's say you were totally committed. You didn't care about Adelson. What could be done? How do we know that they wouldn't just use nuclear weapons? Like if the U.S. stopped funding them today and stopped arming them today, would they then just use a nuke?
You could stop them quite simply. It wouldn't be easy to orchestrate, but it's a simple solution. The first thing you do is don't drop the 82nd Ready Brigade on Iran, where it's going to get slaughtered. Drop it on Dimona. and then tell the Israelis, you are not using this for war. And oh, by the way, you know the categories of munitions that you are 2 days supply, 4 days supply, 6 days supply, 8 days supply. I've seen the chart. You know those munitions that you are very, very short on and that are critical to your survival? I'll stop them all tomorrow morning. Okay. Every one of them. Now let's talk. Shut this down. Lebanon, Gaza, West Bank, all of it, shut it down. And then take yourself out of office.
That'd be great, yeah. And Dimona, of course, is where the nuclear research center is.
Right. And supposedly the stockpile, though, I've heard from reliable sources that they've dispersed some of it.
Oh, wow.
So that's not good.